At the fag end of the campaigning, we have got hold of Premier Christy Clark. Let's listen from her how this campaigning has been and what she wants to say to our voters. Welcome to the program.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for finding time for me to do this.
Thank you. So, Premier Christy Clark, how has this campaigning been all around?
For me, it has been really rewarding because I love meeting people and I'm very curious about people. So this, in a campaign, you get a chance to talk to hundreds and hundreds of people, find out what's going on in their lives, what's important to them. And that is one of the most rewarding things that you can ever get to do.
In 2011, that was the time when you were campaigning for the leadership race. And during these 2 years, what have been your major achievements, if you would like to tell us to our viewers?
I would say the first one is the jobs plan. We've had a very successful jobs plan. We led Canada in job creation in the first year of the plan. We have attracted $7 billion worth of investment for liquefied natural gas. We have begun a major trade initiative with India, the biggest our province has ever done. And of course, the TOIFA awards were part of that. And we have balanced our budget. Now we're on we can put British Columbia on a path to being debt-free for our kids. So all of those are pretty big achievements. And I hope that on May 14th, people will decide they want to let me keep doing this job because we have a chance to really, really grow our economy and put a lot of people to work.
Premier Clark, when you say you have been bringing in balanced budgets, opposition leader Mr. Adrian Dix is saying that no, it's a lie and there is deficit. And in case if we inherit the government, it'll be a fiscal mess what we are going to inherit. What do you say about it?
Well, of course he says that. He will say anything to try and win the election. And he says that in particular because he has no plan to balance his budget. He won't even say if he would ever balance his budget. And so, naturally, he wants everybody to think if he can't do it, nobody else can. Well, the fact is we have done it. We've maintained a AAA credit rating. We have the lowest taxes in Canada for everyone under $122,000. We're doing really well here. And so, it's just politics, I think. But I do think, for people, they look at it and they go, who do I believe? I understand that. But I think when people do look at both of us, they see, one of us capable of making strong decisions and being decisive, and another, Adrian Dix, changing his positions all the time, waffling and flip-flopping. That is weak leadership, and you will never balance a budget with weak leadership.
During these 2 years since you resumed leadership, some challenges which you have faced, and if you are elected again, would you prioritize some of the things which you will bring forward?
There have been lots of challenges that I've faced. There's no question about it. And I think in 2 years, I've really grown as a premier and as a person as well. The priority when we, after the election, should we be reelected, is to grow the economy. So to stick to the jobs plan, make liquefied natural gas a reality for our province, create the prosperity fund, lock the money down so it goes to pay off the debt for our kids, and then start thinking about how do we lower taxes? How do we create more economic activity? And of course, trade with India is a central part of that because the Indian economy is growing very quickly. We need to make sure that we are connected, that our forest industry, our mining industry, natural gas, our technology industry is connected to India because that creates jobs here at home.
You have been saying that this election is one of the most important elections. Why do you say this, and why should the voters vote for the Liberal Party?
Well, because we're so different, Adrian Dix and I, in this campaign, in this election. Lots of people say, doesn't matter who you vote for, they're all the same. Well, Adrian Dix is proposing $3 billion in new out-of-control spending. That's going to mean $3 billion in new taxes from people, from individuals. He's saying he's going to grow government. He's saying no to all the economic development that's been proposed across the province, or much of it. I'm saying yes to economic development, yes to growing the economy, no to more government spending, and no to more taxes. So you think about the future that each of those visions would create. You can grow government, or you can grow jobs in the economy. And for me, I'm all about thinking about the future. I'm thinking about our kids. Where are they going to work? We want them to stay here in British Columbia, not to have to go to Alberta to find a job. And that's why I say this is an important election.
Is the HST hangover still there when you're going and meeting the people, or they have forgotten and they are seeing that what you said, what you promised, you achieved that, and now people are not talking about it?
I haven't heard a lot about it. I think, I'm sure some people are still thinking about it, but I do think people recognize that I said, I'm going to give you a vote. And then once you vote, I'm going to respect what you say, which is what I've done. And so now we've gone back to the old system. And I think, there's one thing that people, I hope, know about me. It's that when I say I'm going to do something, I stick with it and I'm determined not to change, because I really do think people need to be able to know what your vision is for the province and where you want to take them. And so I try and be straightforward, even sometimes when people disagree with me. But I think that's strong leadership. And, Adrian Dix taking all the different positions that he does, changing his positions every week, that's weak leadership. And that's not going to save our province from some of the economic turmoil we've seen around the world.
Premier Clark, you've been always emphasizing on clean politics, but what we are finding today is some negative ads which are coming over and people are talking about it. What do you feel about it? Is there a need to come to that level where politicians attack each other?
Well, I do think it's important that people understand the contrast between the parties. And I think it's important that people know the character of the politicians they want to elect. So, yeah, there's been some real contrast advertising out there. The funny thing for me has been, for 3 weeks or so, Adrian Dix has been saying, and he said this in the debate, I'm going to run a positive campaign. He said, you will never see me run a negative ad. Well, guess what? He broke that promise too. And so, for me, what it really demonstrates is Adrian Dix hasn't changed. The same person who in the Premier's office cracked under pressure and and threw his principles out the door, he's doing the same thing now that the polls are closing up and it's looking like a tight race. Again, he says he's going to keep it positive. The minute he starts to get worried, he throws his principles out the door. And to me, really, that's what this is about. Which leader can you trust not to crack under pressure? Which leader can you trust to stick with their principles?
Towards the end, what would be your message to our viewers today? Why, again, they should vote for the Liberals? As you mentioned a lot about the positive points, what you're going to introduce. But what would you prioritize upon? Because right now, as is being emphasized, that healthcare needs some kind of reform, the education system needs reform, the infrastructure development needs to be there, and economy, of course, is a major strong point. So what would you prioritize, and why should, the public vote for your party?
Well, I would ask people to think about how it is we have enough money for healthcare. How do we find the money to improve healthcare and education? How is it we've been able to set aside $10 billion for new roads, new hospitals, and new schools? It's because we're growing the economy. It all begins with growing the economy. So Adrian Dix says he wants to grow government. And then he says he wants to freeze all capital projects, freeze all new roads, no more new hospitals, no more new schools. Why? Because he's spending all the money today and he's not putting any aside for tomorrow. So for me, I want to make sure that we grow that economy so we never run out of money to look after people. That's what government is there for, is so we can all look after each other.
Thank you very much, and best wishes for May the 14th.
It was really my pleasure. Thank you very much for sharing your time and your viewers' time with me.